Hey guys, the blimp is pretty easy. We've had a blimp in game since day one, the atomic blimp, which is essentially just a parody of the Goodyear blimp. So I would imagine that this is going to function the exact same way in terms of its handling, in terms of its abilities. I do think there's going to be more features applied to this. For example, you can already see some of the features on there right now, how you can change like the texture and the pattern. You can put your name and your nightclub's font and logo on there. I also think there's going to be some sort of promotion feature with this club, whether it's like a loudspeaker that promotes the name of your nightclub or whether it's just the visuals you see on there already. I don't think there's going to be many differences here. It might be slightly more armored because let's face it, a blimp like that is just a sitting duck compared to the Deluxos and Hydras that are going to be flying around. So I'm really not sure how this is going to be sustainable, but it could be a pretty interesting way to advertise our nightclubs. So in this photo right here, I'm only going to be focusing on the new vehicles that are seen, and there are 4 in total. Let's actually start with the clearest one, and that is the Ocelot Swinger. So we originally thought that the Ocelot Swinger was going to be a lot closer to the Jaguar E-Type. Well, it turns out that it's actually way closer to the Jaguar XJ13. As you guys can see, that exposed engine in the back with the glass roof, way more resemblant of that car, which is still fine. I really enjoy that vehicle. It's just, I wonder how this car is going to compete against like all the other sports classic vehicles we have. You can also see the livery on there. It has the Ocelot logo on the back. It has 2 white stripes going along the sides of the car. So obviously that looks pretty cool. It's a pretty awesome vehicle. I'm a little disappointed it's not the E-Type, but still at the end of the day, pretty awesome. The next vehicle we're looking at is a modified version of the Declasse Mamba, which is based off of the AC Cobra Mark III, which is one of the most fantastic Shelby Cobras of all time. So this has sort of got like a Benny's upgrade to it because it literally looks like the Mamba, but with just a giant white stripe going down the front. And that's a customization option we don't have. So to me, this indicates that potentially older vehicles that have been in the game since day one might be getting refreshers. And we might be seeing the Mamba getting an upgrade right there. So it looks like we could be getting another version, or at least a Benny's version of the AC Cobra. Just to the left of that, we have the Mammoth Patriot Stretch. So the Patriot is based off of the H2 or the Hummer 2.0. And this is just a limousine version of that. So not a whole lot special going on here. I didn't see any real unique features other than the camouflage that it has going on, which is sort of this white and gray pattern. So that's pretty simple. It's just an H2 Hummer. We've seen that before. And the other vehicle that's revealed is the Dinka Jester Classic. Now we get to see this a little bit better later in the trailer, but we know the Dinka Jester Classic is based off of the Toyota Supra, and this is going to be sort of the 2.0 version that Rockstar fixed and changed and tweaked and made a little bit better, and that we're going to be seeing in this DLC. So for the most part, the car is going to be exactly the same, just with better options, more fixes, and things you probably enjoy overall. So those are the 4 vehicles that I noticed from that garage shot right there. The next vehicle is sort of a mystery vehicle. Now, I was working with another YouTuber here, Digital Car Addict, to try and find out what this is, and we were both stunned by what sort of car this is. There's a couple things we noticed here. Number one, it has a very bubbly roof. It has a long front end, but it has, very modern chrome rims. And it also has these sort of interesting panels on the side that you guys can see here. Now, we weren't able to come to a conclusion as to what this was. I thought it was like a early 30s Bugatti or something like that, but it also could be a very modern car. So at this point, I don't know what it is. If you guys know, let us know in the comments down below. I think it was the only vehicle in which we really couldn't figure out, which is kind of unfortunate. But Rockstar made it so freaking blurry that there's just no way to see any of the details of this car. Now quickly, we've got an update to this saga. Digital Car Addict and one of his subscribers said they might have found out what this vehicle was. Now keep in mind, in order for this to make sense, you have to consider Rockstar's sense of humor and the way they do Easter eggs and pop culture references, which we've already seen one from Austin Powers with the Ocelot Swinger. Well, you guys know the car that belonged to the villain in the movie? It kind of looks something like this. Now, I'm not saying it's exactly this car, but this would be one of those like meme vehicles that Rockstar could add. And if they were trying to keep it a secret, it's probably a good reason why they had it blurred so much in this cutscene. Again, just speculation here, but I do think that could work really well. Digital Car Addict says the lines match up really well, which if this vehicle is added, wouldn't shock me at all. And what would this car even go into? Sports classic? I don't even know. But either way, this is still one of the most mysterious vehicles from the trailer. The next vehicle we're looking at today is found behind this gentleman right here, which I still don't know who this is. Is it Kent Paul? Is it DJ Paul? You know, who really knows at this point? But regardless, the car behind him is kind of a mystery. Now, I've speculated that this is the Enus Stafford. And because this is the Enus Stafford, we know that this is going to be some sort of vintage Rolls Royce. Now, there's a couple of different Rolls Royces that would make sense here. Whether it's one of the earlier models, like a late 20s Rolls Royce Phantom, that could work. It sort of has the same design right there. It could also be based off of the car it was exactly featured in San Andreas, which is a 60s Rolls Royce Silver Cloud 2. So that's another vehicle it could be. Either way, I'm really excited about this car. And Rockstar definitely showed us this scene on purpose, because they were trying to barely give us a glimpse of it, but not totally give away what this vehicle is. So that's going to be very, very cool when it, of course, is added into the game. Another Rolls Royce. Again, I don't know what category it's going to go in, sports classic or like whatever the case is. But either way, it's going to be a really fun car. After that, we get our first look at the MTL Pounder Custom. Now, unfortunately, there's no real-life vehicle that's based off of this. This vehicle looks like it's straight out of like a modern-day Mad Max with the wedge on the front and the anti-air turrets on the top. So obviously, there's not a vehicle like this in real life. But if you guys know the Pounder, you guys know the Pounder is based off of a just like a simple big rig. You see these sort of trucks going down the highway pretty much every time you drive. So it really isn't a mystery as to what vehicle it is in real life, just like some other Mack trucks. But all of its upgrades are certainly something that is just not realistic at all. But either way, just kind of imagine a Pounder, and that's exactly what we're going to be getting in this vehicle. The next vehicle is a modified version of a school bus. So this looks like it isn't the prison bus. It's not one of the other buses we have in game. In fact, I don't even know if this vehicle is drivable, if we're going to be able to drive it. It kind of seems as if this is a prop that might be used for a sourcing or supply mission. But at the end of the day, it is really cool. It's obviously been heavily modified, fitted with a stage on top, tons of speakers and amplifiers all over the place, you know, places for the DJs to perform their set up top with a holographic skull, you know, being shot up into the air. So I don't know if we are going to be able to drive this. If we are, this is a pretty easy vehicle to figure out. It's just a school bus like you might have ridden on when you were younger, or like you probably see on the road every single day. It's just been heavily modified with lots of little features and upgrades. So that's pretty easy right there. The next vehicle is the Speedo Custom. So once again, there is not a vehicle in the real world that looks like the Speedo Custom, unless of course we've entered the apocalypse or somehow gone into the world of Mad Max. It's got that wedge on the front. It's got the armored sort of front with the machine gun mounted on the top. But if you guys know anything, the Speedo is just a normal van that can be seen in game. So it's just going to be a modified version of that. It's just like a Ford or a Chevy, you know, express van or something like that. You guys have seen them on the road all over the time. It's just going to be a modified version of that. So nothing really too special going on right there. And now let's take a look at a view from some vehicles we saw earlier in the trailer, but just in better quality. This is the Hummer H2 limo right here. Again, you can see it's actually not that long. I've actually seen a lot longer limos like that in real life. This one's a little bit shorter than I thought, which is a little bit disappointing. I was really hoping Rockstar would make this like the longest car ever, but unfortunately they didn't. Either way, it still looks pretty awesome. And then we can get some more looks of the Jester Classic right here. Some of the things that Rockstar have ultimately done to this vehicle in terms of modifications and new liveries. They've made lots of changes to it, which is really great. I know that's going to make a ton of people happy. Again, that's based off of the Toyota Supra. You guys know that. We're expecting to get it in the last update. It looks like we're officially going to be getting it in this update. But anyways,